Good morning. So I was working on this design last night. Couldn't get it to work, but then I tweaked some stuff and got it to work. So right now I am using a program called Kira to it's a slicer program to take the data, the design that I made here, and to send it to my 3D printer to print out. I'm gonna print out this test piece that I finished designing last night. It's got the logo around the edges, and it's got a raised ring that I think would help with the stability of the design. And then this insets. So I just have a rough shape, but with the intention that if I can get this overall design to be working correctly, then I will design um, steps into this middle section so that um, multiple different coins can be placed inside of it instead of having one design for like one design for $half, one design for quarters, one design for, instead of having, four different designs. There can be one design that steps down, and any coin can be placed inside of it. So right now it is just heating up. 210. There's two heating elements, I guess. There's one on the bed, which I am printing on just a piece of glass. It's a really great surface to print on. There's other things that you can get to print on, but this is the one that I found is the easiest, because then when the part is done, I can just use a razor edge and pick it up, and it always makes a really smooth finish to heat to stick down to. So that is going to start printing here momentarily, and at about this is going to be about 13 minutes. So yeah, okay, now it's starting to go. I just want to make sure that it kicks up just fine. So what it does is that it's going to, when it starts printing, it's going to start printing out just a basic circle to begin with, and then it's going to start the design. So what I'm watching is to see if it starts that first layer correctly. Because if it doesn't start that first layer correctly, then the part won't stick. Then I have other things to worry about. But it looking like it's gonna start. It's gonna start out just fine. So we will let that run. So while that's running, I have some other designs. Yeah, it's gonna run just fine. I have some other designs that I'm going to the steps in this section. I have some other designs that I've done, so I will work on those and see if I can copy those over. So the first thing is I need a $half size. So I need to find a $half, which I have one right here. So the way that I do this, right now I'm going to use let's use this 1978. I've got a nice looking 1978 that I'm going to be using for this part of the design. So I just take just a basic $half, and I have a set of calipers that I use to help me figure out, okay, exactly, how big do I need to have this center circle. So turn it on, and so the actual width of a $half is 30.54 millimeters. So I know that 30.54. So there is a little bit of give in the design. Whenever I've designed one of these coin holders, then I've always I'm gonna save this. There's always a little bit of give on the design feature. So let's see, what do I want to do? I want to oh, I know what I want to do. Move this out of the way. So on this one, we're gonna do a base $half holder. I believe I might have one. Let me see what I got. I designed a dime tube. Ike $half. I guess I didn't build one. Okay. So we know that this design needs to be at least 30.54. So we'll do 31 by 31. And then we will do, I'm going to make a solid cylinder that is going to be 32 by 32. And I'm going to put it right around it so that I have so I should have a 1 millimeter gap all the way around. Because when I put these two together, then when I group these two together, the negative, the whole one is what's called a negative space. That negative space will be I'm just gonna make this small. That negative space will create a hole in the design. So in there I have a ring. So if I take the negative space and pull it up like 1 millimeter, and then put this back together, then that gives me the basics of the coin tube. So I was designing stuff like this with just a little bit of lip, so that I can put a coin inside of it. So I'm gonna do this 5 millimeters. Close that. Okay, so then after this, the first design is done printing, then I'm going to basically just print this, and see how well that goes, it will probably be too small. So what I'm going to do is then adjust it so that, and it may take me, I don't know, a couple. It usually takes me three, 4 tries, um, uh, to make this big enough so that a coin will fit exactly inside of it. Now the coin tubes that I've designed, those I design with a little bit of give because I want the coins to come back out, without being stuck in there. So I designed those with an extra, I don't know, half millimeter or so, um, to so the coin has a little bit of room to move around, but not so much that they're sliding and scratching across each other. Eventually, I'm going to get I need to get a light, so that when I have my 3D prints going, I could put the camera on it, and you guys could see what it's doing, because it's pretty neat to watch. So I need to export this, just the selected design. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. I'm gonna try moving the camera around here so you guys can see. So what it's doing is that it's going through and it's filling up, the base design, and then it will go through and print, and layer the letters in. So I'm not sure how these letters are gonna stick. That will be kind of after we print the design and take a look at it and see what things we need to tweak. There may be some things that I tweak on, the letters or the ring, because some of the letters might hold up better, if maybe they're even inset versus being relief, on the design. That we will have to just wait and see. It's looking pretty good so far. I think it's just about the right size too. My thought was is that this holder wasn't going to be more. It's going to be maybe about the size, maybe just a little bit bigger than an Eisenhower dollar. Um, that would be as big as I would have it, just because otherwise there would be too much for me. There would be too much empty space in the design. So I can tell right here that it's starting to do the letters on the design. So we're on the top section of the overall design, because I think this is how tall is this? This is a total of 4 millimeters tall at the highest. So it's not very thick, and that's fine because it shouldn't be very thick. I always print out do test prints, I guess, just to see how the design is going to come out. I did a couple of prints before that are larger. One is about 3 inches across, and the other one's about 4 inches across. But my issue is that I lost so many design elements that I didn't like it. So I went back to the drawing board, and because on the bigger one I lost the stars, and the text on the top did not retain its font. So I didn't like that. And then the smaller one, I also lost the stars, but then I started losing the rings. I started losing sections of the rings, and that's not going to work for me. So I decided to go back to this drawing board and see what I could come up with. Hey, Digger, how's it going? That depends on of how long it takes. It just depends on the design. This is a much simpler design. This one only takes 13 minutes, which it's done now. But I've had designs depending on the intricacies of it, and how physically large it is. There's one that I printed out a small statue, and that took several hours to complete. Um, but it was something that was really cool, so I went with it. So let me get this out of the way here. 1 second here. So I'm gonna put a little light on it. This is what I was saying, that I need um, a light to be on the design. So I just have a little flashlight, so you guys can see that that it did print out most of the design. So the hole's in the center. So I'm gonna pull it off right now, and I'm gonna see. Um, I'm just gonna see what it looks like up close. So hold tight. Okay, so I have the design, and the biggest issue that I have is that the letters, ouch, the letters did not come out the way that I wanted them to. The stars are small, but the stars are there, so at least I have the stars. So let's pull this back up. And let's see if we can tweak this. I guess you guys want to see that. This particular 3D printer, I end up getting for just about $200. It is more of an entry model, um, and you know the price for 3D printers is really coming down. But you can get a very mid-grade 3D printer for about $500. There's a lot of brands. Dremel even makes one that you can get that are really self-contained. I wanted to get this particular one, which is called an A-net A8. Um, it's there's a different bunch of different names for it. It's called a pressure clone or a pressure i3. There's a lot of different models that look very similar to this one. But this one comes basically in a box, and you have to build it. So it was a learning experience to get it to um, do it what I wanted to do. So okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to take this design and okay. Let's see. Do I have a? That's a nickel. So my space is bigger than a nickel. I was thinking maybe I had a quarter or something around here. Well, the good news is that it's almost exactly designed to fit a newer dollar coin. So yeah, that's cool. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So this is a was it James Madison, one of the newer dollar coins. So you can still push it out the back so that it doesn't get completely stuck. Um, but I can shake it pretty good, and it's the hole is just big enough to basically hold it in there just fine. Um, but this is what I was talking about. I can already tell because my OCD is so bad that the distance between the edges is my hole is off on this upper right corner because this has a smaller edge on it than the left side, but you know, that's just me. But that's the general design. The letters are not going to stand out as much as I thought they were going to. So I might have to go back to my drawing, my design elements, and probably make them bigger so that they fit almost the entire edge, and that will give them more structure because there is a lot of, let's see, the bottom part I have MANT, and then I lose the I, and then I lose the C and the C. I have the O, and I lost the I, and part of the S. So the parts I'm missing is like these two C's, this lower section of the I. So I'm wondering if I just scale this and make this bigger so that it's just more physical area, that that it would help. But while I'm working on that one, I'm gonna set this one up, and we are going to print this one. So I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to should be this one. Yep. So we are going to test print this one. I forgot about that. I had it cutting off. Cutting off the objects at 1 millimeters. So this is actually 1 millimeter shorter than what it should be, but it's yeah, it worked out. So this print will be the design element for a $50. So let's give this a test and see. This is going to be pretty fast because I don't have I have really thick layer heights. So the final design will be layer heights of 1 or 0.5, and that will basically make the because this is just built up on layers, that the layers will be smaller, so you could have more intricate designs. So let's get this one started and see. 0.2 on the layer height is basically what I use for all my test prints. Once I have everything worked out, then I will lower it down to 0.1 or 0.5. 0.5 is the lowest that I will go. I'm really happy with this initial print. That turned out actually probably better than I could think. It holds that dollar coin in there just perfectly. So I'm warming this up for the second part, which is the $50, because that's the one that I really wanna get sized correctly, because Mr. Shea, Mantic Coins, deals primarily primarily with $50, so I want to make sure and get the $50 sized. So I'm gonna take this apart. And then I'm gonna take this design. And I'm going to make it bigger. I hate doing this because I always mess it up. That's okay. Let's do this. Let's try changing this to a negative instead. What does that do for our edges? I know that hole's going to be really offsetted. What about that? The only thing is that it's going to be, like, it looks fine here, but when I print it in black, it's going to look like, it's going to look hard. I mean, it's going to be hard to read. That hole is bugging me. The only problem that I have is, well, let's see. Can I do? I don't have the font in this. Okay, I'm gonna let that print. I'm like 90% sure that's gonna be too small, but I know it's going to be. What size is this? This is a 32 by 32, and what size is this? Oh, 27 by 27. I don't know. Maybe it will. So I'm looking around the design right now to see how well that it's holding its shape on the design. I want to make sure that there's equal space in between the inside edge and the outside edge. Like that. That looks a lot better to me. So I can have I can't have the letters all the way through, because this part right here, there's nothing holding on to it, and it would fall. It would, as soon as it would fall right out. So the inset and the letters I can't have. So I could raise them up a little bit so that there's a surface on this, but if this was printed out on all black, then you really wouldn't see the design at all. But I guess that way, see, that goes all the way down, so I need to bring this up. 4, 3, 2, and then drop it back down. So I'm at 3 away from. If I do it like that, then that's halfway down. Here we go. Now the design is inset a little bit. So what I can do is, with another project, I'm doing the same thing. I'm printing it in all black because that's going to be the better outline. I didn't realize my screen was blurry here. Let me fix this. Okay, you guys can see that a little bit better. Yeah, that's a little better. Sorry about that. I didn't realize it was totally blurry. That I take this design and I have the words inset into it, and then I take it's like a needle point paint syringe, and then I put in white paint into these gaps, and the contrast between the white and the black would make it stand out so that you can easily see it, and the paint is protected from chipping off due to it being inset in this. So I think that would be a pretty cool design. Or I could just print it in a different color, but you know, I've got black on my printer right now, so I'll just stick with that because that's what works right now. So currently I'm waiting for the $half piece to work, and it just finished. So I have my $half piece right here, and I'm gonna basically test fit it. So it actually is perfect. It is perfect first try. I'll be dang. I'll be. Now I won't be able to get my coin back out, but I know that this spacing 32 millimeters is perfect. I can't get it out. Oh man. Oh man, come on, come back out. Come back out, I want my coin back. That's what I get for picking a $half, not designing a hole in the back. Okay, so our 32 millimeters is going to be the exact size that I need um, for a $half size. So basically, I'm going to take this design and I'm going to make it so that the overall size of this interior hole is going to be 32 millimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy most of the design. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to pull it over here. I'm going to put this back together because I know this works as a dollar size and I don't want to lose that work. And then so this is the one that I'm going to be making. This interior hole we know needs to be 32 millimeters to match, or 31 millimeters. Okay, so my outside is 32, so my interior is 31, so I need 31 millimeters. So I'm gonna make this into a section that is 31. Actually, I can do this. I'm gonna group all of this, and I'm just gonna drag it out. 44, 44, 45. It's 29, so I need it bigger. So I'm going to do 46 on this side and 46 on this side. And then, so this takes me at 31.05 and I need 31. So I can manually tweak it to 31. And that should give me a little bit of tolerance in it. So then I'm going to put this back together. So this design now is going to be big enough to put a $half perfectly inside. So I'm going to export this. We know that this works. And I'm going to reload. And it should be the $half size. And this is going to take 17 minutes to print. So, and this is with the text indented into it. So I don't know, I don't think that has a very heavy indent. So let's try let's try taking this and putting it so that it is just a hair lower. So I'm just going to drop it down another 0.5 millimeters. Put it back together. Export it again. And that's going to be number 2. Then I'm going to import it to this one and right there. So now, if this design works out, then I will be able to put more enamel inside these gaps. All right, let's 20 minutes. Okay. The reason why the time went up is that when it hits the bottom of these layers, instead of just making lines back and forth to fill it up, it has to go around the outside to create these indents into it. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and print this, and actually I'm gonna take off here pretty soon. So thanks for coming and watching this this live stream. I just wanted to show the other side of the designs, other than coming up with the basic graphics and just how to do it. So if you guys have any questions about the 3D printer, just let me know. You can send me an email at cjscoincrafts cjscoincrafts@gmail.com, or you can just message me on YouTube. And I will see you guys a little bit later today on some of the live streams. So have a great day, guys. Thanks for coming.